This is the Paranormal Report. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm Jim.
Happy New Year. I'm Dar. How's it going?
Just trying to ease back into it. We took a couple weeks off, and even though, we still got shows out and everything, we did take a week off this show. I think we took a week off this show around Christmas time. But, just trying to get the mind back in that work mindset. We're doing the best we can.
It's a struggle.
The struggle is real.
Guys.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is real. And we took off a couple weeks, but we weren't really off.
No,
because
we had to work so much to ramp up to get. I think the only episode we missed was one TPR. Everything else went out in full. Campfire, Paranormal Podcast, everything went out in full. So, but we're back and we're grateful to be here. And I just real quick, we're making some big changes on the Campfire side. I mentioned we're doing away with those host read ads. It just that whole marketplace changed. Let's hope it works. So we decided to go with the automated ads like you hear on this show. And what that's going to do with the Campfire, it's going to reduce the amount of ad minutes for each episode. And the Plus members are going to get all the new episodes without ads.
So that's a huge thing, I think.
Yeah, I think so too.
Because people were always complaining about the ads and whatnot.
Right.
Hey, now if you join Plus Club, you're going to get Campfire without ads. So
the new episodes starting ones. 2026.
The new.
One just
new.
coming out January 8th. That was the first one.
The old episodes are also included in the Plus Club. And they're remastered, correct? You're taking out
all
the ads
of them, but
those.
I'm going methodically.
Slowly.
Yeah,
yes.
A couple a month, and we're removing the ads from those. So a lot to check in with the Plus Club. JimHarold.com/plus. JimHarold.com/plus. And I'll talk more about that on the Campfire tomorrow. But we are here to talk some paranormal, supernatural, unusual business. And first of all, this caught my eye, and this was from the Times, like the London Times. So this is a major, major publication.
It is.
This was just, the MOD apparently ordered officers to find UFO technology. Secret files have revealed. Now, it's funny because I found one report, but apparently there is an older report going back to September, but I think it got resurfaced recently. But apparently the Defense Intelligence Staff, a UK intelligence unit within the Ministry of Defense, which is like our Department of Defense, or now Department of War, was ordered to examine the issue of unidentified aerial phenomena in the 1990s. And they talked about that Belgian flap where people were over a few months in, I think, 89, 90, really seeing all of these black triangles over Belgium. And they talked about the Rendlesham Forest incident as a landing, which I thought was really, really interesting. So they were treating it more like it was factual, and they were talking about some of the flight characteristics of these triangles. And listen to this. A supplementary issue is the possibility of technology acquisition, a report noted. UAPs do not appear to use conventional reaction propulsion. The Belgian deltas, which are the triangles, confirmed by the country's MOD, so the Belgian Ministry of Defense confirmed these, hovered for long periods and accelerated quickly to supersonic speeds, outrunning F-16s. If this represents real technology, perhaps it should be acquired. And they talked about the Rendlesham Forest incident, as I said, as a landing, claiming the latter had been confirmed by the U.S. unit commander and others. So they took that very seriously. And it just went on to say, hey, some people might consider this crazy. Some people might consider this wild, but we need to take it seriously. And, we need to look into trying to get this technology if it is in fact real. So it wasn't saying that it was real, I don't think. I think it was saying, hey, it's very possible that it's real. And this is not crazy to think about this. And this needs to be on our radar, and we need to address this. And it's not a joke. It's very, very serious business. And, I think that's something coming from the Ministry of Defense, like, 3 decades ago. I think that's really something to be, say, this is a serious subject. This is not silly. So I just thought it was an interesting article.
No, it is. I just kind of wonder, did they come out with it because of pressure from what's been going on in the U.S. or vice versa now? Is that going to put some more pressure on the U.S. people to be a little more transparent?
Yeah.
Just curious.
Well, what's kind of odd is I saw this pop up in one place, then I saw it pop up in another place, and then I looked at it and it was a reading. It said September, so this has been out there a while. So maybe I'm reporting old news, but I thought it was something, and particularly coming from the Times of London. We're not talking about a little newspaper or something like this, very respected, very well known. So I thought it was kind of a cool story. And again, shows that there has been governmental interest across the world in this phenomena. And it's
true.
Not a joke, not a joke. I should mention, and we can put a link in the show notes, I was actually in a Wired magazine article.
Yes, congratulations.
They quoted me. Yeah, it was very cool.
Excellent article.
With Becky Ferreira, and she had been a guest on the Paranormal Podcast and interviewed me for this article, and I thought it was pretty even-handed. I thought it was an even-handed article and appreciated being quoted pretty extensively with it. And we had also Dr. Diana Pasulka, who is very famous, discussing
also a former
this.
guest.
Yes, also a former guest on our shows. But yeah, also a former guest on Joe Rogan. So the point being that it was an honor to be in that. So we'll put a link in that in the show notes as well.
Yeah, it was an interesting article because it was based on that, what's it called, U.gov poll that we even talked about on TPR about beliefs in the paranormal. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. And Jim is featured pretty prominently, I felt.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. A nice little December surprise. Well, Dar, you're the resident Catholic here. You have something to report.
Sorry, I had to laugh at that because I'm about as Catholic as my glasses sitting there. I used to kind of be Catholic. Anyway, I'm traditionally Catholic. How about that? I always say I'm CEO Catholic. Christmas and Easter only for Mass, but we've even modified that. But anyway, I digress. There's an article out from the Mirror saying that the Pope is preparing for first contact with aliens this year, according to a UFO researcher. I don't know those out there if you caught Midnight Mass with the Pope. It's a tradition. I always have to watch it. I especially wanted to watch it this year because Pope Leo. So I wanted to see how that went and what he had to say, but it was very interesting. But this British filmmaker says he's been given rare access to the Vatican's secret archives that the church is getting ready for extraterrestrials. So it's Mark Christopher Lee. Claims to have secured rare access to the Vatican's confidential archives and is investigating historical accounts of unexplained occurrences that may shed light on humanity's interaction with alien civilizations. So I feel like the title's a little askew because it's not really about the Pope's making contact. It's about this guy's been given access to go back and look at all of the documentation historically of what the Vatican has found about alien life and unexplained phenomena and any encounters, right? So I think that's he's just saying the new Pope could become the first spiritual leader in history to address first contact. So the title's a little wonky there, but trying to get you in. But it's interesting. He said that the church is not, they've not been poo-pooing the fact that there's alien life out there at all. Vatican astronomers have maintained that there's extraterrestrial life, and it wouldn't contradict Christian faith, because that's the other thing. A lot of people are like, oh, I can't believe in that because it goes against Catholic tradition and Catholic faith. That's not true. So if you look into it a lot more, they've never said that it contradicts anything. They in an article in a Vatican newspaper, they wrote, just as there is a multiplicity of creatures over the earth, so there could be other beings, even intelligent beings created by God. This is not in contradiction with our faith because we cannot establish limits to God's creative freedom. To say it with St. Francis, if we can consider some earthly creatures as brothers or sisters, why could we not speak of a brother alien? He would also belong to the creation. So, and that kind of goes along with a story we had a few weeks ago about Pope Leo baptizing an alien, if you guys remember that story. But I mean,
that feels like weekly world news to me, though.
It's not.
Well, where was Bat Boy?
It didn't come from that one. Well, no, they're just saying that he would be open. And like this article is saying, the Vatican's open to embracing all humanity.
Well, I don't know if you know this, Dar. You may very well know this. I may be telling you something you don't know. But apparently there was supposedly a crash of a UFO in Italy in 1933 near Milan.
That's interesting.
So
it was to honor my dad's birth. So.
Yes. Well, maybe it was. I did think about that when I was going to mention
It was the same year. That's interesting.
Yeah. But and supposedly the files were hidden and all of this. But and if that's the case, I bet you the Vatican had a representative there saying, "Oh, what the heck is this all about?" So it does.
Well, we'll see if Mark Christopher Lee uncovers that document. That should be interesting. See what he discovers. So,
well,
stay tuned.
I think we're going to talk now about two people who are doing some great work. John Greenwald of the Black Vault, who puts out all these FOIA requests, Freedom of Information Act requests to the government to request information about the UFO subject and so forth. And Avi Loeb. And I had seen the thing from Greenwald last night. And then you sent me this article from Avi Loeb, and Avi Loeb asked this question: if 3I Atlas is a comet, why would the CIA neither deny nor confirm, unquote, the existence of records on it? This is on his Medium
I have a few answers
site.
For that.
So apparently John Greenwald had said, hey, can you let us know if you have any files on this 3I Atlas? And here's what the government wrote. And this is from the official letter, by the way, that was sent to John Greenwald. We completed a thorough review of your request and determined that in accordance with Section 3.6a of Executive Order 13526, the CIA can neither confirm nor deny the existence of or non-existence of records responsive to your request. And Avi Loeb, Dr. Loeb, goes on to say that this information is treated as sensitive enough to be classified by the CIA as surprising, given that NASA officials stated decisively at a press conference on November 19th, 2025, which we watched, that 3I Atlas is definitely a comet of natural origin. Now, he goes on to say in this article that maybe one reason that they might have done this is that they were looking at this as a potential black swan event, basically, a 1 in a million thing that could be disastrous for humankind, and they didn't want to admit that. And I think that's a plausible situation. But what if it's like they actually did discover something, and they're not even going to even admit that they even looked at it? I just think it's really interesting because usually it seems like they will throw John some kind of a bone. But in this time, it's like, talk to the hand.
That's right. It's shut down.
That's it.
Bye. Yeah. Go away.
So, read the full text, certainly, Dr. Loeb.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Yeah, he said, and also the other idea is that they don't want to get people riled up in case there really is a black swan event, because Dr. Loeb says, in order to maintain the public's trust, the CIA would prefer to not raise a false alarm like the shepherd who repeatedly shouted wolf. So when a royal wolf came, no one believed him. So maybe that's it too. But it is interesting to me, where there's smoke, there's fire, there's a there, and something is going on. Something is going on. What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I just find it so interesting. Neither confirm nor deny. You don't, why don't you just say we can't confirm that? Or, I don't know, or use different wording. I don't know. I find it very interesting. Just like you said, where there's smoke, there's fire. They have something. And I don't know. And as I was trying to gather stories, because, we've been off for a couple weeks.
Right.
And we had taped our best of prior to vacation. So I was looking for 3I Atlas stories, and boy, the pickings are slim. There's not much out there at all. In fact, there was one article from BBC Sky magazine, just not even entertaining that it's anything but a comet. So it's a comet. That's it. And I'm like, well, can we please open up our minds to the fact that it could be something else? You don't have all the data yet. You haven't been able to analyze all the data yet. And and then there's going to be information that you can't even access. There's going to be, data that this thing is probably throwing out that you won't have access to, that you won't know about.
People are still analyzing the WOW signal from 1978.
Yes. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not going to go into this whole thing, but one of your listeners, Sue, I believe her name, she gave us a wonderful, in the sciences, and her reason for, when scientists refuse.
You broke up there a little bit. So just kind of state, Sue was,
Sue is one of your listeners. She sent a message out. She's heavily in the sciences, and she kind of gave her opinion about why there's such an interesting dichotomy between science and paranormal, and how scientists don't even want to keep an open mind. And her one word answer for that was arrogance. And amen, Sue. Amen. Because I believe that. I believe it.
I think it's the same thing you see in religion. We know all the answers.
Yes.
That's it. I remember when I was going to my church school. I think I've told this before. And part of the schoolwork was they would give you these books that you would have to fill out. And there was this explanation of some kind of biblical philosophy or something. And it said, thus and thus, that. And it was a leading question. And it was like, well, here's what it is. Isn't that really the way to interpret this? And I said, well, yes, it is one way to interpret it. Of course, there are many ways to interpret the Bible. And then I got it handed back to me. There is only one way to interpret the Bible. Same with this. I mean, that's why you have the hardcore debunker skeptics on one side and very kind of religious or true believers on the other side. And they're more like each other than they want to admit, rather than different.
True.
It's like, I know all the answers, you don't. Just for one camp, the answer is, quote, science. And none of this stuff exists because it can't exist. And then the other side, whether it's religion or whether it's people who are absolute believers in one philosophy or another, like, well, it's because I know the true way and nobody else knows it. And that's what makes me laugh, is that the atheists, the hardcore debunkers, are more like the super religious people than they would. They can't stand that, and they're just like them.
They are. Both extremes.
Yeah.
Just meet in the middle a little bit.
Hey, have respect for science. I think, like Sue said, have respect for science. Science is great. Yes. We couldn't do what we're doing now without science. It's all science.
We've talked about this, right?
But the point is that you have to realize that we don't know the answers to everything. And will we know more answers as time goes on through science? I think that we will. Maybe never all of them. I'm not convinced of that, because I think there is a spiritual mode. I think there's more to this than just, as I often say, what you can measure on a scale or measure in a test tube, weigh on a scale. But the point is that you got to leave room. You got to leave room. You got to leave room. So
right, for sure.
I know one thing I'm leaving room for. There's a big movie coming up, and we got to go opening day and see this movie. I saw the trailer. Did you see the trailer? I did see the trailer. Yes.
Yeah. So Steven Spielberg, right?
Yeah.
Disclosure. They're just calling it Disclosure now, I believe. Is the name of the movie.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what they said. So this Radar Online article is an exclusive that Spielberg's facing conspiracy theories that his top secret new UFO movie, quote, features real aliens. I don't know if I believe that, but anyway.
I don't know about that one.
With claims circulating, his highly secretive new UFO film may feature real aliens or extraterrestrial technology. And insiders are saying the notion's been fueled by the director's longstanding association with the sci-fi genre and the film's deliberately opaque marketing.
Well, maybe it's just really good marketing, right? But I will say this. I do think...
All will be disclosed.
Again, I think there's a middle ground here.
There is.
I'm very doubtful that there are real aliens in the movie. But Do I think Steven Spielberg knows a little bit more about what's going on than the average egg? Yes.
Well, this article is interesting because I need to read this. I'm going to quote it. It's a source close to the production said, quote, "There is a belief in certain circles that Spielberg would not make another UFO movie unless there was something fundamentally different about it. The level of secrecy has convinced conspiracy theorists that this goes beyond fiction, and some genuinely think he has been given access to material the public has never seen."
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. And I guess the theories are drawing on what you've talked about before, like decades old anecdotes about Spielberg's relationship with like Ronnie Reagan and the screening of E.T. Yeah, yeah. Spielberg later recalled Reagan stood up afterwards and said, quote, "There are a number of people in this room who know that everything on that screen is absolutely true."
And again, we mention all the time Reagan's address to the UN where he mentions the possibility. I'm telling you.
Well, I like this part because Spielberg added in 2011, quote, "The whole room laughed because he presented it like a joke, but he wasn't smiling as he said it." Things that make you go, right? I don't know. Very interesting.
Well,
so
I think
they think he's the perfect messenger to tell everybody that aliens are real. Whatever. I can't wait.
Well, one thing that is not a mystery is Hollywood will do pretty much anything that will make them a buck. And I think they're going to be this coattail effect because I have a feeling this film's going to do very well. And I don't think I'm the only one who thinks that because there's another big UFO movie coming up. Joseph Kosinski, director of Top Gun Maverick, is working on a new UFO movie inspired by real-life whistleblowers like David Grush. This is from unexplained-mysteries.com. The film will focus on government whistleblowers and the UFO phenomenon, aiming to represent the realities of the topic rather than fantasy. So, yeah, that's interesting. It's an untitled film, and it's also being developed alongside a reboot of Miami Vice.
Oh.
And it's steeped in mystery, but again, it's going to have to do with government whistleblowers and the UFO phenomenon. So we're going to have a couple of big UFO movies. I'm assuming if it's at that early stage now, it's going to be a while till that comes out. But I am really, and if you saw the marketing for Disclosure Day, I thought it was, but Disclosure, the film, Spielberg's
Well, this article is saying now they're dropping the day.
I thought it was Disclosure Day. But that weird billboard, did you see that weird billboard that was in Times Square? Oh, it was really weird because it was like a human eye, but then it was a bird. It was really creepy. Very creepy, very creepy. So
the trailer I saw was kind of creepy. I don't know. Will I be okay watching this?
We are going opening day. We're going and we're going to report back. We're going to report back. So, yeah, there you go. Well,
there we go. Too bad we couldn't rent some theater out somewhere and have all of our listeners come. Wouldn't that be fun?
I would love it.
That would be so much fun.
I don't think that's going to happen, but I would love it. Well, you are our psychic reporter. Not that you're psychic, but you always report on these psychics.
No, I wish I was. I wish I was. I know they say you could develop that. I know they say you could develop it. I don't think I can. But well, Jill Jackson, and I think she has been, I'm trying to find it in the article if they mentioned, she's been like Psychic of the Year a couple times, which I didn't even know they had something like that. She's been voted Psychic of the Year. I don't know, but they're asking her like what's coming, and she's giving everybody some stark warnings, and people are saying, oh, well, look already what's happening politically. But, she said it's just 2026 is going to be a year of economic upheaval. Lots of people will lose their jobs and decide to move elsewhere. So she thinks a lot of people are going to do like a 180 with their jobs and careers that they've been in years and years, and they're going to start over and start something new. And she feels like a lot of new businesses are going to start and be created. And she says then people will realize once they look within that, that was never my path. This should have been my path. Yeah, so I don't know. That's kind of interesting.
I don't know. I think that could be said for almost every year, though, couldn't it?
I think so. You think people don't leave
A
their
lot of
jobs
people,
every year?
yeah. I mean, what was it? In 2012, I did that. I mean, that was, 14 years ago now.
I left a couple years ago, 2-3 years ago.
That seems kind of general to me.
It does. So anyway, she goes on talking about lots of environmental catastrophes happening. So especially in the Pacific and the Caribbean, going to have more earthquakes and floods. So it's like a year of natural disasters is what she's saying. She feels that the Ukraine thing is going to happen beyond 2026.
So no peace this year.
It doesn't seem that way. It seems very negative, gloomy. Yeah. They said,
sounds about
meanwhile,
right.
among what happened?
Sounds about right. I mean, in general, the world situation.
Among other doomsayers and gloomy predictors, the mood for 2026 is typically dystopian. Lots of volcanic and seismic activity. Lots of. Others have suggested that aliens would show themselves this year, and there'd be lots of defamation cases in Hollywood.
Huh.
So, just all the different predictions. I don't know if those were necessarily hers or just other psychics out there. So,
well,
hey, guess what? We'll just wait and see, right?
We will wait and see. Well, I have a prediction, and I feel pretty confident that it's going to come true.
Yeah.
You remember that Voynich manuscript, that strange book from the 15th century? I predict it will not be cracked in 2026. But
ooh, how come?
but there's a new study out that says, hey, maybe we have an idea of where this comes from. A new study proposes that the Voynich manuscript, that is a 15th century text with undeciphered glyphs, may have been created using a cipher called Naib, Naibbe. I'm not sure if that's the right pronunciation. The cipher uses
Nabbie.
Yeah.
Nabby?
Don't know.
No, I don't know.
The cipher uses dice and playing cards to convert Italian or Latin into glyphs, producing text similar to the manuscript. While the cipher doesn't fully replicate the manuscript, it offers a potential method for its creation and highlights similarities between the two. So I guess there was this 14th century Italian card game named Naib, and they think that maybe that's how this was generated. It was a cipher. That's why nobody can figure out. And they've run this past computers. They've used AI. Nothing can crack it. In fact, some people think it was just a goofy hoax. Let's just draw this thing up and have people puzzling at it for years, and it's been centuries now. It has bizarre and inexplicable illustrations of plants, astrology, and alchemy, including supposedly biological depictions of bathing naked women. So, So very, very, very strange. Now, what I thought was interesting, Italian, you talked about your dad. He's coming through a lot on these. He had those Italian playing cards that he used to play with the kids.
Yeah. That's normal. I mean, that's not. Now I forgot what they're called. Oh my gosh. Each girl has a deck. I think they both have a deck.
Yeah, I think so.
Of the cards now.
Yeah.
They used to play. They would understand the game. I would not. I still don't understand the game. It's very interesting.
Yeah.
He taught them how to play. They didn't play like. He played a simplified version with them when they were very little, but they started playing. We have pictures of Cassandra sitting with him when she was like maybe 2 or 3, sitting at the table playing cards.
With the Italian cards, because they are different. They're very different than the playing cards.
I know somebody out there is going to tell me, and of course, as soon as this
I
is
can
over,
picture
I'm going to go
the
look it
box.
up.
I can picture the writing,
I know
but I
all
can't
of them.
make it out.
I think it begins with an S. My mind is just gone. Gone, everybody. It's gone. All this that was in here and doing very well has just gone. Bye-bye. It's gone. But anyway, I'll figure it out. Maybe I'll put in the show notes. But this cipher, wait, so Jim, I'm kind of confused about this article because now they're saying it may be a cipher from this game that was played.
With card and dice,
Well, why couldn't they have figured that out before now if it's AI and they've run it through everything? And so is it or is it not?
Well,
Or
they're saying it's
loosely
one
on it?
possible explanation. They're not saying it definitely is, but they're saying that this could be a way, because one thing they said in the article was it would have to be made in such a way with tools that were available at the time. And these are two of the tools would be cards and dice in combination. And they go in and they spell out some examples of how these things could be. But again, I would think if you could put all the permutations of the cards and the dice into a computer with all the power that we have now, it'd be able to spit out a solution like that, which kind of makes me think maybe the people who are saying it was just a big goof are right. It's apropos of nothing.
Maybe.
Who knows? I've always found it really
know.
interesting. It's just
I
like,
think it's,
just
when you first
strange.
showed me this and I first
it's like,
had
"Ugh."
access to this, I was like, ooh, what does all of this mean? I kind of like it.
Yeah.
I still don't think it's bunk though. I think there is a meaning behind it. I do. I don't think it's a hoax or just a joke.
Yeah.
There's
it'd
got to
like
be something.
That book from the Twilight Zone, To Serve Man. No. What
But
if
we
it's
know
like
everything.
what if like it within there's something like the secret to the universe or everything in there? I'm not saying there is.
Secret to
And there's
longevity
it looks like
or-
that's a good point, because it looks like there's a lot of medical stuff in it.
Well,
a lot
that's
of
what I was
people,
saying. Maybe
gynecological stuff in it, kind of herbal suggestions in it. So maybe there's maybe the cure for cancer is in it. Who knows?
Something.
I mean, who knows?
a cure for something, or like I said, maybe longevity, or if you could get your hand on certain plants, or I don't know. I just find it, I don't know. I don't feel it was made for nothing, right? Why would somebody just sit there and put all of that in there for nothing?
Yeah, it seems
Just to be a joke, or even just to be art. Why would they do? I don't know. I just feel there's some kind of meaning behind it. Yep.
Well, guess who's back for 2026? Who's back?
Mount Baldy Bigfoot.
I love that, Mount Baldy.
Mount Baldy. Apparently there's been a lot of sightings at Mount Baldy. This article it just came out in outkick.com. However, the event actually, I believe, happened in like November. So this mom from California, she went camping with her son and nephews, and they were woken up by something throwing rocks at their tent. I don't know. This one I'm not so convinced. Anyway, so she did send her report to the Bigfoot Field Researchers Organization, and she let the experts take a look, and it was given a Class B classification by the organization. I'm sorry I didn't do my homework because I don't know what that means, if that's like legit. I'm assuming. But she says, I was with my son, 15, and two nephews, 14 and 17. We went up to Mount Baldy to camp. My son wanted to check it out, and it was closer than Big Bear, where we usually camp. So they got there at about 8:30 at night. It was dark. They got to the campground. It was deserted except for like 2 tent sites. They chose a site closest to the bathroom. They set up camp. They cleared the rocks and stones and found a place with the least amount of slope to put the tent. They had a fire. They listened to coyotes before they went to bed. She did say like the coyotes made their way into the campgrounds, keeping them awake till one of the campers set off a car alarm, and that sent them running. And then they fell asleep. And about 3:30 in the morning, she was woken up by the sound of rocks hitting the ground, like 10 to 15 rocks hitting the ground from being thrown from a distance. And she said they were not pebbles. They were substantial rocks. She said they were hitting the ground on the side of the tent where their heads were, but none of them ever ended up making contact with the tent. She was scared. She stayed motionless. She tried to figure out if they were in danger of a rock slide or if something was walking above the location, causing the rocks to roll towards them. She said neither of those were likely. She said in the morning they went out there and they found evidence. When they went outside, they found 8 rocks, baseball to softball sized, roundish, that were 4 to 10 feet from the tent. They were dry on the bottom, as opposed to the other rocks were wet on the bottom, so that they were new. They tried to like throw it hard enough to replicate it, but they couldn't. And they said there wasn't enough slope to allow the rocks to fall down towards the thing. So, yeah, they realized they also heard a long howl that didn't fit with the coyotes howling. So that's what, she told her sister when they got back, and her sister started sending her the links to stories about the Mount Baldy Bigfoot. Yeah. So
to your point, I believe a Class B sighting off the top of my head. I believe that's a visual sighting. And I think a Class A sighting would be if you had physical evidence, but that's the hardest, obviously. Like,
of course,
I don't know if you had a footprint or something. I mean, I think that would be Class A or something.
You know what would have been interesting had they taken one of the rocks, and could they have, maybe this sounds stupid, just for DNA for fingerprints or DNA or right? Yes. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's tough.
I don't know.
Tough.
I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm certain maybe something happened. I don't know. Was it Bigfoot? I don't know. I'm kind of not believing that. I don't know. But there have been other sightings, people have said, in that area. So it's possible. I don't know.
Well,
here's a question I have for you, though, Jim. If we were in a tent camping, which would never happen because I will never go outside, unless it's like a glamping. And even then, I don't know. I'm comfortable in a nice hotel. Anyway, if we ever did go camping and you heard the ruckus or you felt like rocks were being thrown, would you get up and look outside?
I might like surreptitiously put an eye out,
right?
But I don't know that I would be like, "Hey, I'm here." I'm a coward.
No, I just kind of wondered that. Like when most people, you hear something, don't you get up? Like when we've heard noises in the house, we get up.
Oh, I think I definitely probably get up to an extent and kind of peek an eye out.
Well, no, I'm not saying let's go outside and dance the can. I mean, I'm just saying. I'm saying, wouldn't you like?
I wouldn't. I don't know. I would. I'm nosy. Dresses anyway. Remember those?
I'm nosy. I'd want to go see. I would peek an eye out, right? Maybe just peek my head out or get something. I would hope I would carry some kind of weapon, not a gun or something, but like something, like something. Kind of peek out and see what the heck's going on.
I come in peace.
A light.
I'm a podcaster. I've got a portable recorder here. Let's do an interview, Bigfoot. Get you on digital tape.
You probably would bring your recorder with you.
I mean, now we all have recorders. We have iPhones. We could just hit record.
I don't know. I just kind of question, wouldn't you want to take a peek? I would want to take a peek.
I would want to take a peek, but
I don't want to take a peek at what's ahead in this next story.
Yeah,
no, thank you.
And we have kind of two semi-related stories here, and you say, "Oh, maybe that's too much." And I think these might be the most important stories we have because they really impact everyone. And I've never heard of this. I don't know much about it. It's called the Texas Family Medicine Research Journal, but they talked about visions of hell in near-death experiences. Now, most of the near-death experiences we hear about are sweetness and light and, I saw the light and I saw loved ones and beautiful this and beautiful that, which I do believe that does happen. But they say these hell-like situations happen. Is that actually NDEs are reported occurring up to 15% of cardiac arrest survivors. Visions of hell are not as common as near-death experiences of visions of a glorious, comforting heaven. And they give some stats here. They say frightening experiences do happen, reported as low as 1% and as high as 15% of NDEs in multiple series. Distressing NDEs have been organized by researchers in 3 categories. The first type of experience is simply negative, often starting as peaceful and degenerating into a very intolerable emotional state. The second category is a hell of isolation, darkness, loneliness, non-existent, and eternal void, matching the narrative medicine story in this journal issue. I guess they talk about this in this issue. And that reminds me of the Howard Storm account. and he's been on the show, and we've seen him on local TV. He was a gentleman who lived what he called a very bohemian life, kind of like eat, drink, and be merry. Had this medical crisis, nearly died overseas when he was in Europe, was in this void. And then I think he said he started saying the Lord's Prayer, started singing, "Yes, Jesus Loves Me," which he learned in Sunday school. And all of a sudden he was delivered. When he came about, he changed his whole life. He actually, I guess he separated from his wife and he became a reverend and all that. So that reminds me. And then the third type is a more classic, terrifying vision of hell with entrapment and landscapes of torment, frequently with malevolent beings. Now, Storm, I think, did talk about some malevolent beings. A proposed fourth type involves a life review in which the individual feels negatively judged by a higher power being. Now, I've heard that the life review is very common across the board, even in pleasant ones. And what I've heard is that you're not so much being judged, but you're watching what you've done, and you yourself feel the feelings of everybody else that you were around. So if you opened the door for someone, you felt, hey, that person, that really made their day. They were having a rough day. Or if you were spiteful towards someone or did something not so nice, you felt how they felt. That's the way that I heard it. And I think that's actually kind of cool. I don't think that's necessarily negative, just saying, hey, here's what happened. We're not judging you, but just so you can see how other people felt by what you did. Because I know there's plenty of times where I think I've done things where hopefully I made people feel good. And there's plenty of times where I have done things where I feel like, boy, I wouldn't want to have been on the other end of that. Maybe I was a little too harsh. So the point being that I don't see that you're thinking, not that long ago.
Laughing because I'm thinking the life review is similar to me watching home movies when the kids were little. And I'm like, oh, did I say it like that? Oh, my tone was so nasty. Or, oh my God, I'm so stressed and I'm yelling
but see,
at everybody.
That wasn't somebody else judging you. That's you kind of judging yourself.
But that's why I'm laughing, because I'm like, that's a life review now. I'm watching.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that's hell-like at all.
Yeah,
I don't think that's hell-like at all. It gives you a better...
That is kind of hell, because I cringe when I'm like, oh, was I really that nasty? My tone was so nasty, and I'm like, oh my God.
They told a story in here, and I'm not going to go into it too much, about a 10-year-old boy undergoing a dental procedure, and it didn't sound like he had a medical crisis per se, but he had this weird... feeling that he was in a void and that everything was an illusion, that his family wasn't real, his memories weren't real. I don't know if that was really an NDE, though, because I don't think he had hypoxia or any kind of medical situation. So I wasn't clear on that, but it was interesting. It's an interesting article. So again, I think it's something we'll have a link in the show notes. But the thing is that the good news is the vast majority are positive.
Well, I say it's scary because I think not too long ago we did a story and about the hell version of this. And I think you had mentioned that sometimes it didn't even matter if people were actually good people and did good and they were experiencing that. So that is frightening to me.
Yeah.
I you know, and the isolation. I think that's some of the worst, right? Just to be away from anything and anybody. That would be, to me, that's hell.
Yeah. The thing that I was going to say is that I think, at least at my age now, I'll admit it, I'm afraid to die. I think most people are. But you do find that people, once they get close to death, you know, in situations where they're aware, because any of us could be close to death at any time and not know it. But, I mean, people who are aware, it seems like their fear of death decreases somewhat and they become more at peace with it, which is an interesting thing. I've heard that said many times. But it's part of the human condition. We don't like to face it. We don't like to talk about it, but it's there. It's, what did they say?
Inevitable.
Death and taxes. So
please, taxes are coming soon. Let's not talk about that.
All right. Next.
Yeah. Well, piggybacking off the NDE story, there's a story from express.co.uk about Matthew Melton, who had a NDE, and he said he discovered the truth about the world when he died after an allergic reaction. So he was I think he was at a concert. Yeah, he decided to snack on a bag of sunflower seeds, and he started to develop a rash on his neck. And he thought, something major was happening. So they rushed him to the nearest emergency room, and he had injections of antihistamines and steroids, but he claims his heart stopped, and he was, quote, blasted into a wormhole, leading him to an unusual place.
Whoa.
Yeah. And he said the post-life realm is entirely different from our physical world. He, quote, the second that you die, you're not in the physical world anymore. It's a whole different ball game. Concepts such as light and dark may not apply. You have the sensation of being out of your body, and it's pure bliss. He uncovered what we truly are. The feeling was so incredible. Quote, it was like the weight of the world finally removed, and to feel what it's like to truly be free. He said he shared a profound insight about life. He stated, quote, the other takeaway was that the life we live here on earth is some type of illusion. It's not actually happening, and there's a true nature of reality that is greatly misunderstood from person to person.
Interesting.
He said the feeling of re-entering a human body is the worst feeling he's ever experienced.
Oh, boy. Ouch.
Yeah. Yeah. Being trapped in it. He said, life's a beautiful thing, but he got the impression we're here for a purpose. It's some type of game, some type of test, and that's why we're here. Yeah.
I wouldn't discount it. I just think there's so much more. I just, people like him.
Right.
And
I would hope, right?
People.
Can you imagine? You just believe there's nothing? That's it. It ends.
Yeah.
It just
that
ends.
Would be tough.
That's what's scary to me. If it just ends, that's it.
Yeah. Well, somebody made the
I
point,
don't
though,
believe
when
that.
you go to bed at night, you're not scared when you go to sleep.
Oh,
I mean, if that's all, if it's nothing. No, if it's nothing, I
I
guess,
know what you're saying.
I would rather have that than be thrown into the fiery pits of hell.
Well,
but,
obviously.
Yeah.
But you're right. Like when you sleep, it's done. You're done.
Yeah.
That's like anesthesia. That stuff's scary.
Yeah.
Surgeries. Oh, I don't like that feeling. I didn't like that. Knowing that, and you have no memory, at least like sometimes when you sleep, you dream. So you could, you know what I mean? So you know some stuff was, I mean, I guess some people might have some brain activity that they remember during anesthesia. I did not. I didn't like it at all. It's very scary because you're out like that.
It's true.
Boom, black.
You know, one of the most frightening things I think is the unknown. Wouldn't you agree? The unknown? Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why you need to join Jim Harold's Plus Club because we're going into the unknown this year with our new ad situation. We don't know how this is going to go. We're probably going to at least initially make less money, and we want to keep doing these shows for you. And one way that you can ensure that we do that is if you join our Plus Club, and you get so much content, the whole back catalog of the campfire going back to 2009, which, God, that'll be 17 years this year. And then I have to keep reminding myself what year it is. And then you've got the Paranormal Podcast. That's going back to 2005. That'll be 21 years. Plus shows like The Other Side, Ghost Insight, Ancient Mysteries on the Air, The Cryptid Report, all these interviews that I've done over the years and continue to do that have never been on the free feeds. And again, what we're doing with old episodes of the Paranormal Podcast and Campfire, what we're doing is methodically going through, remastering the audio with the amazing tools we have in 2026 to make them sound better. They've never sounded better. And then we're taking out the ads, going back to the very beginning and releasing a couple of those every month. So you get 8 pieces of exclusive content every month. You get that whole big back catalog. Amazing amount of content. I think people, once they get into it and they're like, oh my God, I heard you say it, but I don't realize. I mean, you can literally put it on, never repeat an episode, and listen for months.
Absolutely. And then don't forget behind the scenes with our banter.
Of course. Yes. How could I forget that? Behind the scenes with Jim and Dar. And that's a lot of fun. We do that We do that every month, and we talk about non-paranormal stuff, just life, just what's going on.
For the
with
most
us.
part. My last one, though, was about my psychic visit. So,
Oh, that's true. That's true.
which was very interesting.
Yeah,
So
it was.
sign up
It was.
because, yeah.
Yep.
Somebody asked me if I'd go back.
Oh, I
do
think
it
you
again.
go back. I think you go
in a
back.
heartbeat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I thought so.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a lot of fun. We are
It's
back.
been
It
great.
is 2026, and God willing, we will continue to bring you the content each and every week on the Paranormal Report and all of our other shows. Any final thoughts, Dar, before we do the dance?
No, just wishing everyone a very healthy, safe, and abundant new year. Let's hope it's a good one, and it's what we make of it too, right? And
That's right.
Keep watching. Keep
Something
listening.
to dance about. Something to dance about. Stay safe, everybody. Like Dar said, and stay spooky.